thrill me.
This show is part of the Thrill Me Podcast Network. Experience more on Facebook and YouTube.
Hey yo, and welcome to the Reveal Rob Show. I am, of course, your host, Reveal Rob, coming at you with the latest in news and a new review for you this week, man. Looking at the brand new Stephen King adaptation, Firestarter got a remake released last weekend, and I'm gonna, talk about it, give my thoughts on it, man. Hope everybody out there is doing good, having a good time. If this is your first time listening to the show, welcome to the twisted nonsense that is me going around and just randomly talking about movie stuff. Please hit the like and subscribe and share with your friends as we continue to grow. Speaking of Throw Me Podcast Network, man, be sure to follow us on Facebook and on YouTube, where we got a lot of stuff going on, man. And we just did, since the last time we talked, we had our first big get together show, man. We recorded it for our Patreon. We got a Patreon that started up where we're doing all kinds of awesome stuff, between the classic stuff that Honors released as well as myself released. Nightmare on Reveal Street, both seasons have been added there. To, bunch of ideas coming down the pipeline that we're going to be adding there as well. But we got together, did an awesome recording where we talked, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, gave all of our spoiler reviews of it. We talked about Friday the 13th, because we recorded on Friday the 13th, so we talked about our top 3 Friday the 13th films. We did some Evil Dead video game talk, and, just had a good time talking about, some random stuff, and that's up now on our YouTube. So be sure to go over there and check that out, man. Had a great time over there. And be sure to follow all the shows, man. You got the Metal Groove, you got Hunter's Podcast, you got the Mr. Wonderful Show, and of course you got my show. Oh, you got Zach Speakeasy as well, and of course you got my show, man. So good times, having fun, all that stuff. Speaking of good times and having fun, man, since over the weekend, some WWE 2K22, got some time finally to get some gaming in. Got to play that game a little bit. Finally started the My Rise on there, which the My Rise is you create your wrestler and do the storylines and all that stuff. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, having an absolute blast with it. The creations on these games for the WWE is just insane. So much detail, and it takes hours, honestly, to create wrestlers, but it's such a great time, even with all that, because all the stuff you can do and create and all this nonsense, that's just awesome nonsense. So I did that, and I've been playing the game and going through the storylines and all that stuff, and just honestly the most fun I've ever had playing one of these games, man. They did a great job taking that year off and coming back in with this game. Fantastic, man. Good job on that game. I'm enjoying what they're doing. They have a new DLC coming out, which I'm planning on picking up and streaming live on our YouTube as well. So another reason to follow our YouTube there is get live video game stuff, man. Zach played Evil Dead. He showed that game off when it released, and I'm showing off WWE stuff when we get there, man. Plus all the other stuff gets on there. All of our shows are on there. All of our podcasts are on there. And, we're going to have trailer reactions and all that good stuff going on over there, man. But I think that pretty much covers what was going on with me. So we can just go ahead and jump into the news now. The first thing I'm going to jump into, got some Johnny Depp stuff to talk about here. I'm going to mention that piece of crap Amber Heard a little bit as well. We got some news involving that thing. But first thing we're gonna go here is a big rumor came out recently that Robert Downey Jr. is reportedly wanting to add Johnny Depp to his next film, which we believe is the Sherlock Holmes film that he's working on. It's believed that Johnny Depp wants to help Robert Downey Jr. wants to help Johnny Depp get his career back going after all this nonsense has been going on with the trial. And of course, as the trial goes on, people are learning more and more and more how much of a liar Amber Heard has been and how much Johnny Depp is really not the problem here. So, things are starting to get back going there. He has a film that's up for auction, films being shown for, movie studios to possibly buy right now. He's now that he's got this rumor coming out, which good job, Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. of course had trouble past back in the day, and he of course was able to get his life back together and regroup, and of course went on to being beloved by a lot of people because of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So looking at this, I'm gonna keep you posted on this, see where that goes, man. I can't wait for Johnny Depp to get his career back going. Speaking of that, Pirates of the Caribbean producer Jerry Bruckheimer was talking recently about the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, saying, quote, yes, we're talking to Margot Robbie. We are developing two Pirates scripts, one with her and one without. When asked about the future of the Pirates franchise, will Depp be back? He said, not at this point. The future is yet to be decided. Now, the Margot Robbie news is not new news. I've talked about this before on earlier episodes of my show. This is old news, honestly. This has been something that's been in the works for a while now, saying we're reading that where he said we're talking to Margot. Seems like they're not fully done yet. Sounds like she may not be fully on board. And there's a lot of negative press around Pirates as well right now. Like, people are signing petitions. I think it's up to like 2 million, if not more, people who are like, put Johnny back in the movie, do another Pirates with Johnny. Johnny deserves this, which I completely 100% agree with. I've enjoyed every single one of the Pirates films. I know some people with the more recent Pirates films have been back and forth and have had their own opinions, which is fine, but I've enjoyed every single one of them. And, he wants to give Captain Jack Sparrow a good send off, which, I mean, let him do it, man. So if you want to, I mean, he can be in this movie. Margot Robbie. Margot's great. She's one of my favorite actors. I have nothing against her. I'm not upset if they decide to do something like that. But it is interesting that I said the future is yet to be decided. I think everything, again, with everything coming to light, with this trial continuing on, I think that, Johnny Depp's getting very close to getting uh, what he deserves back, man. He should have never been put in this position to begin with. And now it sounds like things are starting to go back in the right place, and people are seeing, you know, all the petitions and all that, and how much people want Johnny Depp in their films, and how, Johnny Depp being removed from these films is hurting business. So I think they're paying attention to this a lot. Now, I did say I was going to talk about the piece of crap person. And she's an absolute liar, so we don't know if we need to fully believe what's being said here, but she has said that Warner Brothers um, put up a fight. She had to put up a fight with Warner Brothers to keep her role in Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. She said that she had a greater role in the script. It was reduced as the trial's gone on, saying that given new versions of the script that had taken away scenes that had her doing action scenes in it. Um, Saying basically took a bunch out of my role. They just removed a bunch, which, feeds into the rumor that I think I talked about last week's episode, maybe the episode before, where they said she's only in about 10 minutes of the movie, which still seems like bait to get people in to see the film. I'm still not seeing this movie if she's in it at all. And I did see a rumor stating, kind of like what happened after the Ezra Miller situation, where apparently Warner Brothers has planned an emergency meeting due to executives insisting that Amber Heard needs to be cut from Aquaman 2 completely, not just having her role reduced. Now, this is something I fully support. I don't think Ezra needs to be removed from the Flash. I think he just needs to remove himself from Hawaii and those situations that are getting him in trouble. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm not seeing Aquaman 2 in theaters at all if she is still in it. Like, that's always been the plan. That's always going to be the plan. If you 100% completely remove her, then a lot of people are going to go see your movie. You have a lot of petitions against you right now not to see this movie. It's in your best interest to fix that. So, yeah. I hope that's true. Again, it's just rumor, and of course, we can't ever believe anything she says. But I really hope they take her out of Aquaman 2 completely. Let's see. Moving forward into other news, Judd Apatow wants to do a Superbad 2. Saying, quote, everyone was like, nah, we don't want to screw up Superbad, but accidentally making a crappy second one. Apatow said, I would always say the same thing. Well, that's like saying don't make the second episode of The Sopranos. That's what he's saying. Like, so why do you think we would screw up the second one? Always wanted them to do a sequel to Superbad. Apatow said earlier in the interview. So I know that Jonah Hill said, "Oh, it'll be funny to do it when we're in our 70s and 80s," but I really want to do a Superbad in college where Jonah fucks out of college and just shows up and visits Michael Cera at college. I'd be into a Superbad sequel. I really do enjoy the Superbad films. I think it'd be a good time. But yeah, it seems like Jonah Hill and Seth Rogen have been very against the idea of doing a sequel to the film. Which I mean, it doesn't need a sequel, no, but I think it would be a fun thing to do. I think it would be definitely interested. I think Jonah's kind of moved away from the Superbad films. I really honestly don't remember the last thing I saw Jonah Hill in. I guess he was in that movie. That was on Netflix, the movie Leo, right? But I haven't seen that one yet. So I don't know, man. I would gladly watch a Superbad too. I don't think it needs to happen, but I would fully support a sequel if it did happen, man. That seems like a good time. Now, while a sequel for Superbad's up in the air, we are getting a sequel to This is Spinal Tap movie, man. The movie came out in 1984. It was like a rock mockumentary, if you will, faux documentary, directed by the great Rob Reiner back in the day. So we are actually getting a sequel to that. It's going to be released March 19th, 2024, which would be around the 40th anniversary of the original. It looks like the sequel will be set in the style of Martin Scorsese's The Last Waltz, which was a concert documentary that followed the farewell tour of a band called The Band. That's a real thing. That's not not a mockumentary. Spinal Tap 2 will also feature real life musicians in the film. No names have been revealed yet, but it will likely depend on the artist's touring schedule. Spinal Tap, of course, was Michael McKean, Christopher Guest, and Harry Shearer. They're all going to be back, from what I can understand here. And of course, this is Spinal Tap. If you haven't heard of it, the movie came out in 1984. Chronicled the lives of a fictional English heavy metal band, which was played by, of course, McKean, Guest, and Shearer during their American tour. Cool, man. Like, I would never expected a sequel for that movie at all. Like, at all. I never thought that would be something that would happen. But yeah, I mean, it looks like they're moving forward with it, and if they want to, why not, man? 2024 is when we're going to get that one. Another movie getting a sequel is a film called A Simple Favor, which was a hit for Lionsgate and Amazon Studios. It's a film that starred Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively. It was a mystery comedy kind of film uh, back in 2018. It was based on a 2017 novel of the same name, A Simple Favor, which told the story of a widowed single mother named Stephanie who was played by Anna Kendrick. She was working as a vlogger in Connecticut. She looks enviously upon her best friend Emily, played by Blake Lively. Emily has a successful career, a loving family, and glamorous lifestyle. However, things turn awry when Emily mysteriously disappears one day. The film earned more than $97 million at the worldwide box office with a large commercial success for Lionsgate. So not surprising that it gets a sequel, if I remember correctly. Only saw the movie once. Believe the ending did leave it open for something else to happen there, man. So cool. Bring it on. I'm into it. I like Anna Kendrick, Blake Lively. She's alright. I mean, I didn't watch Gossip Girl or anything. I'm trying to think of anything other than A Simple Favor I've seen Blake Lively in. And I mean, that's no knock on her. I just don't know much of her career. I know she did that Shark movie, but I never watched that either. The Shallows, that was the Shark movie. Yeah, I don't know. But like I said, I thought she was good, and oh, that's right, she was in Green Lantern. Um, I haven't seen The Sister of the Traveling Pants. I haven't seen Accepted. I saw Accepted. Honestly forgot she was in that. And again, that's not a knock at her. Like, I think she was good in A Simple Favor and all that. So I'm glad they're doing. That's cool. They're doing a sequel to that, man. It could be a good time. Let's see some DC news. As always, every episode has mandatory DC and horror news. A bit of DC news I got here is that the CW has officially ordered the Gotham Knights show to a series, from just a pilot to a series. This coming after they canceled Legends of Tomorrow and Batwoman. They are bringing Gotham Knights to series. Now, Gotham Knights is set in a Gotham City reeling from the murder of Bruce Wayne. His rebellious adopted son forms an alliance with the children of Batman's enemies when they are all framed for killing the Caped Crusader. With Gotham as dangerous as it's ever been, the group of fugitives could be the city's next saviors. We also learned that Misha Collins has been cast as Harvey Dent, aka Two-Face, in the series. You may know Misha Collins as the dude that was in Supernatural, man. Can't remember his name right now. That's a wonderful show. I'll let you know. He might have some news on Supernatural on his show. Hopefully he does. If he doesn't, come on, dude. Thought you were a Supernatural fan. Ha! That's right. I'm taking a shot at you, Wendy, like you took a shot at me last week's episode about the Chucky news that came out after I recorded. Thank you very much. Inside jokes, but still fun times. But yeah, cool. I'm into it. That sounds like a good show. I don't know how much this has to do or if it'll be in any way related to the Gotham Knights game that's coming out, which news on that is only going to be on the new generation of systems, which pisses me off. I knew that was going to, I had a feeling that was going to happen sooner or later where they're going to release games on these new systems where I'm going to be forced to get it. So now they are officially doing that. They're officially, the Jedi Fallen Order sequel sounds like it's going to be only on the new systems as well. So looks like Reveal It here is going to have to get a PS5 to play this games and all that stuff, man, which sucks. I'm just waiting for the bad news of Hogwarts Legacy is going to be PS5 only as well. I'm like, come on, man. Like, it's such a weird thing. Like, I kind of get it to where you're like, okay, let's get people to buy our new system more, but at the same time, kind of a bad business move, right? Because if you have open to all these systems, you're going to make more money. But, hey, neither here nor there, I guess. Let's see, that was DC news. Moving over to horror news, there's a rumor out there for Rob Zombie's Monsters film that is headed to Netflix. The film was believed to be heading to Peacock since it is a Universal film. However, rumors are suggesting that the film has been sold to Netflix and will debut later this fall. Either way, give me that freaking movie. It seems like a fantastic good time. I love me some Rob Zombie, both his music and his movies. So I'm into it, man. I can't wait to see this movie. Can't wait to see this movie, man. Be it, again, if it's on Peacock or Netflix, I got both. I'm ready to go. Let's see. Uh, American Horror Story. American Horror Stories has announced the 2 new installments coming this July 21st. It'll be debuting on Hulu this summer. American Horror Stories. This is it's the spin-off. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. I didn't watch the first installment. I like American Horror Story. I've watched every season of that. That was a good time. I haven't finished the last season though. What was it? Double feature or double whatever. But I finished the first one, the first part, but didn't finish the second part. Need to go do that. But I haven't seen American Horror Stories. I may have seen the first episode, which I think took place in a murder house or something like that. I think American Horror Stories has something to do with the past American Horror Stories seasons. So, I mean, it's probably worth checking out. I just haven't dove into it. And so, either way, though, man, if you're an American Horror Story fan, American Horror Stories is returning with their second installment on July 21st of this year on Hulu. Let's see, now this is something that we talked about on our Patreon special that is, on YouTube right now. There's a special that was released on YouTube. These other hangouts are going to be Patreon exclusives, but we wanted to give you a glimpse of the awesomeness that you get from joining our Patreon, man, and hanging out with us. So we did briefly discuss this, so I'm not going to go in full detail about it, but Spyglass Media and Paramount Pictures have officially announced that Hayden Panettiere is returning to her role of Kirby Reed. So she played the character in Scream 4, and she will be back in Scream 6. Now, of course, they did do the little Easter egg in Scream 5 with Kirby to let us know that Kirby's still alive. And we'll see what Kirby's up to in Scream 6. Now, also confirmed the 4 survivors, of course, from Scream 5 will be returning to the next film. If you haven't seen Scream yet, a little bit of spoiler here, but Jenna Ortega, the fantastic Jenna Ortega, great actress, fan of her. She's probably one of my favorite actresses. She and Melissa Barrera will be returning. They are, of course, the sisters Tara and Sam. Let's see. Also returning is Mason Gooding and Jasmine Savoy Brown, who were the twin siblings Chad and Mindy, who were the nephew and niece of Randy. So those four characters are returning as well as Kirby. So we'll see what happens there. Courtney Cox was announced to return. We're waiting to see if Neve Campbell's returning or not. Who knows? Pretty sure she will, though. Is that the news? Wow. All right, cool. That's the news. Powering through, man. Let's see. What is releasing this week? So starting it off here, we got a movie called Men. It's rated R. It's the newest movie from A24. It is a horror drama, 1 hour, 40 minutes. This will be in theaters only. In the aftermath of a personal tragedy, Harper retreats alone to the beautiful English countryside, hoping to have found a place to heal. But someone or something from the surrounding woods appears to be stalking her. What begins as simmering dread becomes a fully formed nightmare inhibited by her darkest memories and fears in visionary filmmaker Alex Garland's feverish, shape-shifting new horror film. Now, I haven't fully decided if I'm going to see this movie in theaters yet or not this week. You already know, if you've been a listener to the show, how I feel about A24 and how they did release X early this year, again starring the fantastic Jenna Ortega, which I absolutely love that movie. That movie is in the runnings for maybe being my favorite film of the year. Who knows? We will decide that at the end of the year, of course. But I don't know about these movies, man. I don't know if it's something I want to see in theaters or not, because I just don't trust A24 enough to give me something that I'm going to personally enjoy. I know a lot of people love their films. That's great. I've had a hit and miss relationship with it, to be completely honest with you. Um, I love Under the Silver Lake. I thought that was a really good movie. Again, I love X. Did not like Midsommar Heredity all that much. I mean, Uncut Gems, I think it's an A24 film. I like that. So, again, hit and miss. I'm hearing amazing things about Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, which is also an A24 film. Maybe I see that this weekend. I don't know. But we'll see, man. That's out this week. Also coming out this week, A Perfect Pairing. It's a romance comedy film. It's 1 hour, 21 minutes on the Netflix, starring the fantastic Victoria Justice. You may remember her from the Victoria Show on Nickelodeon. Also, she is a fantastic singer. Do not sleep on Victoria Justice singer. She's incredible. Let's see. This film, to win over a major client, a go-getter LA wine executive signs on to work at an Australian sheep farm where she sparks with a rugged and mysterious local. Alright, sounds like a typical romance movie. Let's see, Downton Abbey, A New Era. Still surprised this is a movie, but whatever. This is a drama, 2 hour, 5 minutes. This is in theaters from Academy Award winning creator Julian Fellows. There's no R in there, you idiot. Fellows. Comes the motion picture event Downton Abbey: A New Era. The much anticipated cinematic return of the global phenomenon reunites the beloved cast as they go on a grand journey to the south of France to uncover the mystery of the Dowager Countess' newly inherited villa. I don't know, man. I haven't watched a single episode of that show. I've seen the trailer for this movie countless amount of times. I can't even remember how many times I've seen this while in the theaters waiting to see a movie. Like, I feel like I've seen it every single time I went to the theaters. Like, every single time. And every single time I see it, I'm like, why is this happening? But hey, it's got its fan base, I'm sure. And to all of you out there going to see Downton Abbey this weekend, I hope you enjoy it. Let's see. And last movie I got here is Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. This is PG. It's an adventure comedy, and it is on Disney Plus. And Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Chip and Dale are living amongst cartoons and humans in modern day Los Angeles, but their lives are quite different now. It has been decades since their successful television series was canceled, and Chip has succumbed to a life of suburban domesticity? Okay. As an insurance salesman, Dale, meanwhile, has had CGI surgery and works with nostalgia convention circuit, desperate to relive his glory days. When a former castmate mysteriously disappears, Chip and Dale must repair their broken friendship and take on their Rescue Rangers detective personas once again to save their friend's life. Sounds interesting enough. The voices for Chip and Dale. Chip is going to be John Mulaney, and Dale is Andy Samberg. So you got the SNL brethren there. Cool, man. Good on them. Sounds interesting enough. That might be the movie I end up seeing. I'm gonna see A Perfect Pairing because again, love me some Victoria Justice, and then I'll probably check out Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Why not? I've got a lot of stuff written down I need to watch as well. So there's a good chance of a lot of things happening where I just end up playing WWE 2K22 some more. Riverdale Rob and Mando Rob have been sleeping on the job, by the way. Like, they haven't watched either one. Neither one have continued their shows, man. I need to talk to them. All right, Riverdale Rob, Mando Rob, need to get it going, man. Definitely Mandalorian. I need to get back into that. Those couple episodes I watched were fantastic. Let's see. So that does it, man. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. News and what's releasing this week, man. So I guess it's review time. Wow. All right. Powering through this episode, man. It's an easy episode. Let's see. Gonna go ahead and you know the deal if you've been a wicked listener of this show since episode 1. Gonna take a pause here. Gonna play the trailer, and then I'm gonna come back and talk about the film. So hang on tight. Hang tight. Hang on loosely. I don't know, man. I'll be right back after the trailer.
Daddy. What's going on, sweetie? Something feels weird. Something's changing.
You remember the tools we taught you, right?
Pencil, desk, paper, shoes. You're weird. Everything okay, Charlie? It happened again.
What happened?
The bad thing.
If you ever start to lose control, what do you do?
It didn't work.
She's not a robot, Annie. She's a little girl. With little girl emotions, which are wildly unpredictable.
Charlie?
She just has to shove it down and keep it hidden.
Our responsibility is getting her ready.
Our responsibility is to protect her.
Charlie?
If they catch her, they're gonna put her in a cage.
Charlie?
They're gonna run tests on her for the rest of her life. We'll never see her again.
If who catches me?
Something's happened. I need it handled with discretion. And I need her back alive. Holy shit. Do you know what it means to be on the run?
Bad men are after us. Really bad.
I hate living like this!
You're special, Charlie.
I'm not special! I'm a monster! Charlie!
I want to help her.
You want to use her. Charlie? Don't be stupid.
Where's Mommy?
Do you feel that? Let her go or it's gonna get a lot worse.
Where's Mommy? Tell me now!
She's the first of her kind. A real life superhero.
You need to understand how to use it. It can't be a reaction. It's gotta be a decision. It's the only way that you can control it.
She's becoming a young woman,
I'm not going to jail.
and someday soon,
You're gonna change the world.
she may be capable of a nuclear explosion.
Run, Charlie! On your knees!
Simply with the force of her mind.
The whole world's going to hell. Promise me that you'll never use your gifts to hurt people.
I'll only hurt bad people, I promise.
Trust me, Charlie. You don't have to be afraid. Please, I can help you.
Liar, liar. Pants on fire. I don't want to hurt anyone. But it feels kind of good.
All right, man. Welcome back to the show. That was a trailer for the new Firestarter film that was released over the weekend on Peacock as well as in theaters, and I ended up seeing this on the Peacock, man. So, Peacock, man, that sounds hilarious. So, Firestarter is rated R for violent content, is a mystery thriller horror film, comes in at 1 hour and 34 minutes, and again, this was in theaters, or it still is in theaters, and on Peacock. For more than a decade, parents Andy and Vicky have been on the run, desperate to hide their daughter Charlie from a shadowy federal agency that wants to harness her unprecedented gift for creating fire into a weapon of mass destruction. Andy has taught Charlie how to defuse her power, which is triggered by anger or pain. But as Charlie turns 11, the fire becomes harder and harder to control. After an incident reveals the family's location, a mysterious operative is deployed to hunt down the family and seize Charlie once and for all. Yeah. So, I remember when the trailer first came out for this film, and I was interested, man. I knew it was a remake because I've heard about Firestarter before, but I never saw the original movie, the starring Drew Barrymore and all that. So when I saw that trailer, I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. This could be decent enough. This could be good. And then when they announced it was on Peacock, it got a little more interesting because I don't know if I was ever going to go see it in theaters per se, but I did like the fact that it was on Peacock. And after watching the movie, I'm glad I watched it on Peacock. So what I ended up doing before I dove into the 2022 film is I did end up watching the 1984 film, the original movie starring Drew Barrymore, just because I wanted to see it and then kind of gauge the two, and they're both on Peacock, so it was easy to kind of do a double feature back to back, if you will, of the two films. And just to touch on the 1984 film first here, it is definitely an 80s movie. It has its, look of the 80s and all that stuff, but it's very practical in the fire, and I enjoyed the film. And I think my main takeaway from the movie was how much of an inspiration it was, I think, for a lot of things that have come since, mainly being a show I absolutely love by the name of Stranger Things. Because I remember when I was watching the 1984 Firestarter, there was a moment in there where I'm like, this kind of reminds me of Stranger Things. And I immediately paused the movie and I Googled it. Like, did Firestarter influence Stranger Things in any way? And it did. And it's pretty clear to tell when you're watching the movie and you're like, oh, okay, cool. I can see where Stranger Things got some inspiration from this. I will also say the X-Men films that have come out have also been inspired by Firestarter. I don't think that's too crazy to say. But I mean, yeah, I enjoyed the 1984 film for what it was. I like the practical effects of it all, especially the big scene at the end. I think it was good. Again, 80s film, early 80s film, so be fair what you're going into and expecting there. But I think it was fine. I would probably check it out again. Then, after I watched that, I jumped into the new Firestarter movie. And, the first thing I want to talk about here is the whole idea that it's being called a mystery, thriller, horror film. Maybe. I guess there's parts of it where it's a horror movie, but I consider it more sci-fi, which the 84 film is actually considered horror and sci-fi. And I think that's more of the realm to go. Like like I said earlier, the movie is rated R for violent content, so I guess that's where you get your horror in this movie. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't hate the movie. I didn't hate it at all. I see that it's getting fairly horrible reviews. IMDb has it at 4.6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes has it a critic score of 13% and an audience score of 47%. And I don't know, man. I don't know why it's doing all that bad. I guess, and I'm sure more than anything, it's a lot of people who, still for Lord knows what reason, have such a hate for movies being remade. But I'm sure the majority of the reviews are for that. Like, for me personally, I enjoyed the film. I think it was perfectly fine. I did I like it more than the 84 film? I don't want to really compare the two. I will say, there's aspects of the 84 film I liked more than this one. But I think this movie did enough to be enjoyable for a watch. Like I kind of mentioned earlier, I'm glad I did get to see it on Peacock instead of in the theaters. I think if I went and saw it in theaters, I would have been left with maybe a little bit more of a moment. Watching it at home, like, okay, that's fine. I enjoyed it. I didn't hate really anything in it. The girl in the film, I think she does a good job. Obviously you're filling the shoes of Drew Barrymore, who's, I mean, she's a legend, if you will, of Hollywood. What is her name? Brian Kira Armstrong. I think she's good in the movie. I think she does what she needs to do. I'm iffy on Zac Efron. I really don't know what I think of him. Of course, he's mostly known for High School Musical. I know he did the Ted Bundy movie a couple years back. He's done other things as well. I don't know, and kind of, I didn't like their relationship too much in the movie. That's one of the things I liked more in the '84 film as opposed to this one. I think the father-daughter relationship was much better in the original film than it was in this one. Uh, you know, but I mean, from there, I think one of the things that this movie may have going against it that the 1984 film didn't have going against it, it's kind of something I mentioned a moment ago, is when the '84 film came out, it was kind of, I guess, fresh ground, if you will. Since all that time's passed, you've had, again, these X-Men movies, and Stranger Things, where characters got these abilities, and the federal agencies want to come and take them and hide them and use them as weapons, or harness their powers, find them as weapons, and then get rid of them, or hide them as mutants versus the government and all that stuff. Like that, I think, is something that kind of hurts this movie a little bit to some people, because like, oh, we've seen this with the X-Men movies and all that stuff. But you gotta remember, I mean, Firestarter came out before all that stuff came out. Now, I mean, the X-Men comic books have been around for however long they've been around, but I don't really know the storylines they've been doing or anything like that. But a movie wise, this is an adaptation that was a little more original in '84 as opposed to what it is now in 2022. Um, I mean, the story's fine. I don't have any real problem with the story. It's kind of the same as the '84, which again, they're both based on the novel, which I have not read, so I don't know which one's more accurate to the novel or not. Looking at the effects of it all, I was just reading before doing this episode that I honestly thought the majority of the effects were CGI driven, but from what I just read from the director, pretty much all of the effects are real. Like, this is real fire going on. I apologize, my voice. My voice is almost all the way back, but it's still got some, little hiccups in here. But yeah, all the fire. I mean, here's a quote from here. Quote, all the fire is real. Some of it gets a little enhanced with VFX, that's visual effects, to clean up things that we couldn't take care of. But the final act features a 50-foot flamethrower, and those people are really being hit by it. We built that set specifically to do that stunt. But to me, it resonates in a way that CGI can't. It has to be a handshake between special effects, practical, and CG. So there is some CG involved to help clean up things. There's CG used, which one of the effects I do like is the effect when like the room is heating up or the area is heating up and all that stuff. I like that effect that gets shown on screen, which is I think a CG thing. Could be wrong there, but I think it's a CG thing. I like that idea because it gets you building in that building when you're watching the movie. You're like, oh shit, things are going off. She's losing it. She's starting to lose control of her power. You can see things are heating up. You can see, the water's bubbling, all this stuff. That stuff's cool, man. So I mean, I don't understand the hate the movie's getting. Is it a perfect movie? No. Yeah, I mean, but it's fine. Like, it's perfectly fine. Like, it was enjoyable for the watch. Again, I'm glad I saw it on Peacock instead of theaters. I think if I would have saw it in theaters, you know, I wouldn't have come out with much of a difference. I just think seeing it on Peacock is better than seeing it in theaters. If you want to see it in theaters, cool, awesome, go support theaters. That's great. But I think the movie does what it needs to do. It's reluctant to call it like a superhero movie or anything like that. It's not really, like it's like again, it's like an X-Men movie. Basically, I guess is the easiest way to compare it to now. Harp on the same idea. In '84, it was completely more original than what we get to now. Um, and again, I don't want to compare the two films. I'm not going to sit here and compare originals and remakes. That's just a ridiculous argument to really have. They're two different films, man. Two different films, two different visions, two different thought processes, and I honestly enjoyed both. Did I like the '84 one more than this one? Yeah, a little bit. Not by much. I don't think there's a wide margin of difference between the two. I think they're both close enough They're fine. There's aspects I like more about the 84 than I like about this one, but at the end of the day, they're both enjoyable enough films to watch, and I'd probably gladly watch both of them again. Am I in a hurry to see either one of them again? Nah, no. But would I watch them again eventually? Yeah, of course. Why not? Especially if I do like a Stephen King marathon or something like that. I'd gladly watch both of them again and have a good time with both of them. I think they both have elements that are enjoyable. And the only reason I'm bringing up both films at the same time, again, I'm not going to sit here and compare them just for the people who are like, oh, the original's better and all that stuff. And people like, I don't want to see the new one because of the original and all that. Like, hey, there's no need to have that discussion, man. Like, their movies are movies are movies are movies. Just watch a new adaptation. That's fine. I think the new Firestarter did what it needed to do. I think, again, I forgot her name. What's her name? Was it Ryan? Yeah, Ryan. I think she did a good job in the film. I think her performance is really, fine. She's a child actress. It's the first thing I've ever seen her in. I don't know what else she's been in, but I think she portrays what she needs to portray. Again, horror element. I don't know. There is some horror parts to it. I mean, they've got John Carpenter to do the film score. That's great. He's a horror icon. I think overall, watch it on Peacock would be my suggestion. Have a good time with it. Be open-minded about it. Don't be one of those people who's like, oh, I hate remakes. Like, don't be that person. um, go into it with an open mind. It's cool to know that a lot of the fire effects and all that stuff was real. That's cool to find out, especially after seeing the movie. My only nitpicks with it are I don't like the relationship between the father-daughter too much. And maybe that's because I saw the 84 film and saw how it's better in that one than this one. And again, it sounds like I'm comparing the two movies. Like, I'm not doing that. It's just, I think the relationship could have been better between the two of them. I understand what they were going for in this movie. And again, I haven't read the novel. Maybe this one's more accurate to the novel. I don't know. But to say this movie's like a 13% and horrible movie and just a waste of time, no, I wouldn't say that. Like, absolutely not. I would definitely not say that. I would say it is worth the watch. It's worth the time. I mean, it's only an hour and 30 minutes. It's not going to be a huge waste of time for you. Again, it's on Peacock. It's easily accessible. And I say, give it a try, man. Give it a try. It's from Universal. It's from Blumhouse. You kind of get the idea of what you're going to get from them. It's a Stephen King movie. Again, you kind of get the idea of what you're going to get there. If you enjoy the X-Men films, there's no reason you can't enjoy this movie. Or the 84 film, which helped inspire all of it, So yeah, I say, will it be in my top 10 films of the year? Nah, probably not. Probably not. But it's not nearly as horrible as it's being made out to be. And again, I know my tastes are definitely different than a lot of people's tastes, which I'm glad. I don't want to be like everybody else. I like making my own decisions, but yeah, Firestarter's not worth the hate that it's getting. I think it's enjoyable enough for a watch. Like I said, I would gladly watch it again. Not anytime soon. I'm not rushing to watch it again, like I did with a movie that is also in the running for my favorite film of the year. A little movie called Metal Lords on Netflix. Continuously thinking about that movie, and will gladly rush back and watch that movie whenever I can. With this movie, I don't have that same reaction. So again, I don't put it on a high pedestal for the year, but I think it's enjoyable enough for at least one watch. Don't let these bad reviews sway you to not watch it. I think it's worth the time. Again, just to rehash it, if you like the X-Men movies, there's no reason you can't like this movie. And I say give it a go, man. Especially if you have Peacock. Go ahead and watch it. Or just download Peacock and watch it. Like, get Peacock anyways, man. Peacock's good. Peacock's a good service. Especially if you're a wrestling fan. What are you doing? Come on. Come on. But yeah, that's my review, man. That's going to do it for this episode. That's the review. Just a little bit of business here. This Friday, Wonderful and myself are going to be joining Jimmy over at the Horrific Network, part of the Halfway to Halloween event. We are going to be doing commentary for WWE 2K, where the HHN icons are going to battle, man. We're going to be doing commentary for that. That's going to be a good time. And then on the 22nd of this week, the whole Thrill Me podcast gang is getting together with the Horrific Network to talk about whatever we're talking about. I really don't know what we're talking about. I don't know. But we're going to have a good time, man. It's going to be a good, fun time over there. Be sure to follow the Horrific Network. They got some great stuff, and Jimmy's a good dude over there. So definitely check them out. Give them a follow. And again, check us out on wherever you listen to your podcast. You can also find Thrill Me Podcast Network on Facebook, on YouTube. Get all of our stuff, man. So I think that does it, man. Go, again, always make your own opinions on movies. I just give you my thoughts and hopefully helps you decide if you want to watch a movie or not. That is awesome. But I will never, ever, ever tell somebody not to watch a movie, whether I hate the movie or not. So that's going to do it for this week's episode. Appreciate you all taking the time to dive in and listen to me ramble on. I will be back with a new episode next week. All things, hopefully. Hopefully nothing happens. Hopefully I still will be there. Hopefully Riverdale Rob and Mando Rob get on it and do what they're supposed to be doing. But nonetheless, I appreciate you all taking the time to listen to my show, and we will talk again soon. But as always, I hope you remember that happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one remembers to turn on the light. Talk to you all next episode.
Thank you for joining me this week. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to get updates on all new episodes. As well, follow me on Twitter at review_it_Rob. Stay tuned for more adventures.